Alright, so today I found the old GT Green Tea AI, which I believe was around in Brood War. And Blizzard tends to not love it because I think hackers can use it somehow. I don't know how it works. I just like drilling build orders against the AI, and this one can be quite difficult. I mean, most AIs are they're not that challenging, but this one can put pressure on it macros better than you do probably, almost certainly, and can micro and does different build orders, and yeah, and is annoying as hell, can play very greedy or play very cheesy. Today's video I wanted to talk about where or how I came to the faith, and I kind of wanted to do it because I feel like I should, like if I'm going to publish these videos ranting about various theological and religious topics, I should probably do a bit of self-disclosure and, have it on record as who I am and how I got here. So for quite a few years now, there's been this idea of a debate between science and religion, or science versus God, or words to that effect. And I have a science degree, but I don't work as a scientist. I find the notion of that kind of debate a bit ridiculous, and maybe I'll get into why later. But it's funny, and I don't think it's at all necessary. But I thought I wanted to give a few of my reasons, and just how I came. Like, how does someone actually become a Christian, or maybe part of any religion? So we'll get this game started. Let's see, being the Teal Terran. Yep, that's all good. We'll open that to public so they get data, because I'm a nice guy like that. And off we go. I think I might get hammered the first couple of times I'll try this. I've not played against it for a while. The Bone Trench. GT2 in custom games. I'm on the US server at the moment, but I think they're on all servers. And we won't have close spawns. The game's set up smart enough to have you away from each other. Yep. Time to die. Why do you say that, man? Base 1, base 2, base 3, and you can... I don't really feel like taking gold bases. They don't do gold bases on ladder anymore, so I won't take them in customs. Yeah, so what am I now? 27, I'm nearly 28. I came to the faith when I was 9 or 10 or 11. I was living in a group home at the time. I'm going to play badly as well because I'm trying to talk. We'll just keep it simple, hey. Living in a group home, and in Blacktown in Western Sydney. I'm a Western Sydney boy. Sydney's on the east coast of Australia, if you didn't know. And my mother died when I was 5 or 6 of lung cancer or emphysema. She was a chronic smoker. My father died when I was a teenager, but I never met him. Unfortunately, apparently he was a pretty good guy. He died of liver cancer or liver failure because he just drank too much. That's an interesting story. Flip, maybe I should tell that story. Not now though. Maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. But if anyone had good reason to be an alcoholic, I'd say he did. But what do I need to build? Will I go command center first? No, I shouldn't do that. I should wall off. Yeah, so the parents died before I got to know them, and after Mum died, we lived in Western Sydney in Lethbridge Park. Ooh, see, he's already got his probe on me. So like, human players aren't that good. Gate gas core, yeah, so it's all pretty standard. You started about 108 gas ago. Alright, so after Mum died, I lived with one sister, then another, because the siblings I have on my mum's side are much older. My siblings are all older than me on both parents' sides. So I lived with one sister, and then another They just weren't in a position to look after another kid as well as their own. Because a lot of my nieces and nephews are only a little bit younger than me. I was an uncle at like 6 months old, which is kind of stupid, but you know, whatever. We'll make another one. Well, yeah, so we'll do a 1-rax expand against Protoss. I don't know how good that'll be. We just need to watch for when he expands. He's going to stay on one base. Or will I stay gasless and just go... I might just go...
Additional supply depots required.
Oh no. There we go. Okay, so gate gas core expand. Or it's a 3-gate expand. Alright. So I'll put that there so I can watch when he comes out. Yeah, siblings older than me, nieces and nephews, same age as me. I really don't know what to do here. We'll just add more barracks. We won't. I usually, you know, play the normal builds and expand and stuff. But we're not going to do that because he's probably going to hit me hardish, and I just need enough units to hold him off.
Our SCV's under attack.
Yeah, see, he's already on his way out, douche. 1 base aggression, awesome. So this game should be over quick. Where was I? Yeah, so they die. I live with one sister, then I live with the other one. My maternal sisters, there's 2 of them, Megan and Wendy, they're lovely. And they've got, you know, kids of their own. Megan's got like 5 kids, for crying out loud. Not that I'm complaining, I like big families. Not that I have kids myself. Yep, and I'm basically dead. Watch this, watch this. It's not like Brood War where you can hold through good mechanics. I got 2 Marines. I need the bunker. Alright. So this AI loves the 1 base aggression. Drop his haste. Oh, alright. Like I'm a dead man, but let's just get the scan. Started his 2nd, has not started his 3rd. Stargate Mothership Core. What a twat, man. Seriously. Alright. That's right, I forgot. This AI loves its 1 base pushes. Bunkers. Racks gas orbital. Probably into 2 racks. Bunkers at the front. Ugh. So frustrating. Anyway. So look, average unspent resources. Got to 2 bases quicker than me. Still has a lower. Spends its money better. Less supply cap. Made more workers. And then get this. Look, let's look at the graphs. Army value. I'm the light blue guy. Look at the dark blue guy. Whoosh. Yo. Resource collection rate. You think it's cheating, but it's not. It just micros better. Ugh. But when you can go late game, you can win, because then you can multitask and innovate and adapt better than the computer can. You just have to outlast the robot beyond its point of innovation. That's my theory. Play again, why not? So anyway, I lived with one sister, then another. At the age of 9 or 10-ish, moved into this group home, which was just a home run by a charity called... Well, they were Care Force back then, they're Anglicare now. And there's about half a dozen other kids. We grew really close, and basically none of us had a home. Or our families couldn't look after us, or we didn't have families, or whatever. So you move in there, you live there for a while until you get adopted or fostered out. And you're only meant to be there for a few months, ideally, before they can place you. And they have a bunch of volunteer staff on a rotating roster, and we call them uncles and aunties. So when we're at school, you can just say, "Oh, my uncle's picking me up," you know, to avoid the awkwardness of why you don't live with your parents anymore or whatever. And they were lovely. That was some of the best people I've ever met in my life. They looked after us so well and were kind and accepting, and mostly in their 20s or 30s. So not old. A couple of uni students. It really doesn't pay well at all. And you can get some pretty messed up kids. Like, there was one guy who the day before I moved in had watched the Michael Jackson movie from the 90s. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's pretty classic. And there's a bit where he someone punches through a window and grabs someone through a window. And he tried doing that. And he did it a couple of times, and he just sliced his arm up and all up and down, needed deep tissue stitching. And was bleeding profusely the day before I moved in. And a couple of weeks before this kid was crazy. Right, a couple of weeks before that, there was a skylight above a stairwell. So, of course, as you do, he climbs up on the roof, goes to the stairwell, pulls tiles off the roof, and starts chucking them through the skylight, breaks the skylight, at people walking down the stairs. Nutbag, right? Absolute psychopath. But the other kids were all lovely. Don't think they weren't. They were. And you got all sorts of stories, like sometimes their parents died, or sometimes their parents were abusive, or sometimes they just went broke. Boke, yeah. Alright, so we're gonna do barracks, or racks if you're not a StarCrafter. And then we'll get the gas geyser, and we'll make the orbital command. Alright. I really want that hot chocolate. Ooh. So what's he doing? Expand first. Zerg. I need to play bio, probably. I wonder if I can play mech. Roach. So, 2 base Roach. No upgrades. Making a queen by the looks of it. Yeah, okay. This should be interesting. You need that one. Okay. Anyway, so we lived here. They started taking us to church, the staff did, on Sundays. The other kids didn't love it. I kind of did. I liked being with the other kids at church. That was fun. Should have put a bunker there, but that's alright. And then what do we do? And then we're just going to put this guy. Oh, piss off. Are you serious right now? Up yours. Man. See, I'm just not... I say I'm doing this because I don't want to play on ladder, but this is exactly the crap you put up with on ladder. Anyway, so... Come on. Just let me get some units out to fight you, you cock. Such a cock. No, shoot the dead one. And then there's more. What? 2 lings was all it took. And then follows up with another 2. Oh man, this is unbelievable. I'm gonna have to pull these guys. And here come lings, not roaches. So that's practically a 6 pull, but he's added a second base. I cannot abide this rubbish. This is ridiculous. I'm going to expand because if I do survive this, I'm going to need it. I'm not going to survive this. Oh, GTAI.
Base is under attack.
The pain. The pain. Maybe I'm just too noob to win. I just send out Marines to their death, but there's 1 roach. Oh, it's unbelievable. We're gonna watch the replay of this because that's just stupid. Oh. First thing you gotta do is wall off, and that ramp's probably too wide to have walled off in time, so I need to probably play on the smaller maps, not the 2v2 maps. Ugh. Anyway. They started taking us to church. It was cool. It was Doonside Anglican Church, so still in the Blacktown area. And I went to the Sunday school there, and it was kind of fun. They kind of dressed up the room as like a jungle. So there's like trees and things everywhere, or as like an oasis, I think it was, because Jesus was from the Middle East or the Near East. And we learn about who Jesus is, and he died for our sins, and the whole gospel story, which was great. I didn't really care much about that, which is kind of funny for a Christian to say, but at the time, what got me was when they told us the story of Nero's war against Israel, against Jerusalem, and against all the persecutions, and how the Christians, who were still Jews at that stage, they had to leave. A lot of Jews did as well, generally, but so did the Christians, and a lot of them hid in catacombs, in caves in Syria or in Egypt. There's a lot of them in Syria. Bear Grylls has done an episode where he actually found them and stayed in them for a night. If you've never watched Man vs. Wild, you should watch it. Okay, so it's a 9 pull. First lings come out at 16. So it's not like... It was a fake out. What a bastard of an AI. This AI has gotten really smart. It looks like he's going to go for a 2 base roach timing, hitting me at like if it's still early aggression, it's going to be like 8 minutes-ish, right? Hits me with 2 lings before I can wall off properly, and I'm making marauders, so I've taken the gas. Oh! Sneaky git. So Gosu. Anyway, we'll watch the replay. Watch replay solo. Here we go. What got me was the Christian's response to Jesus' life. So, like, the gospel stories didn't do a whole lot for me. It was people's response to them, and the way people would change their lives. The Jews converted to Christianity. They were like early on a sect of Christianity, so it was seen. Let's speed this up a bit. No, let's not. And it was their response that got me. I knew what to do with Jesus then, because the thing with Nero's war against Jerusalem is he scattered the Jews because they were just murdered and massacred, and the temple was destroyed in AD 70. Where's he going? Oh, right, of course. And they held on to their faith even though the Roman army was hunting them down and killing them. And then I understood, oh, so this is like a thing you hold on to. Like, there's a life to be lived here. And as a 10-year-old, I kind of got that. And it was the early believers' willingness to hold on to their faith despite pressure to do otherwise that told me, well, this is something that Jesus and this thing is really, really valuable. In fact, I'd heard some stories like this in school as well. Like, I was still in primary school, but you touch on history a little bit, and maybe I'd seen a documentary on TV when I was playing with my toys or something, and when I was a little kid, I don't know, but it clicked. So I've held on to my faith ever since then. Now you can see their mining rates are the same. There's our money. And like, everything's legit. So I'm scouting. I see the expansion. I see the pool. So it's spawning pool. And the expansion. Like, it's these 2 lings that effed me up. So what I should have been doing, if I'm going to play these maps, this ramp is wider than on the typical 1v1 maps. I wonder if they've got any normal size maps on this. Doesn't appear to be. But that's... oh... no, that's one huge ramp. Yeah, so typically a ramp will be about half that wide. So I'd only need 3 buildings to wall it off to hold this off. I could have gone command center first and walled off that way, and be ahead economically and hold off your aggression. I might try that, actually. It's more important against Zerg with the lings, but... so frustrating. Anyway, so I lived in this house for about 2 years, was adopted by a lovely family who lived in the Blue Mountains, which is the first part west, once you leave Sydney. I also lived in Queensland for a bit with Mum before she got sick and we had to move back. But anyway, so I was adopted. They were Christians, Anglicans also. So I've had a very Protestant evangelical upbringing. Went to their Anglican church. Heard about the gospel in an Anglican church, and now I go to a... how do you class it as? It's the ACC, Australian Christian Churches, so like a contemporary form of Pentecostal charismatic church, but certainly a lot less crazy than the stereotypical Pentecostal church. Look at the... oh, that was a pretty explosion. Let's just rewind a tiny bit. Watch it blow up. Whoa, look at that fire. It's so pretty, look at it. Smoke. Damn, Blizzard. Damn. There's an Ultralisk carcass. I do like this game. Expanding. What a troll. Anyway, So I moved in with this family, went to church every week, did school. It was a nice environment. Had a mum and dad who lived together for the first time. They didn't fight. There was food in the fridge, enough food. They had lives and careers and were pleasant. We learned table manners, things like that. And it was generally lovely. Yeah, we can watch me lose again. That'll be fun. Actually, no. We need to not do the 2v2 maps. That's what it is. We need to do other GT maps, so I can actually wall off to begin with. And I just grew up, did high school, finished uni, or went to uni. I moved to, started off a physics degree, wanted to be a rock star, but thought, oh no, I'll get a degree to back me up while I can't tell if you've got the map I need. To tell, and sorry, excuse me, thinking about 3 things at once. This is the one. So, I thought I'll be a rock star because I play guitar, and I'll, yeah, we can do this one. And that will back me up while I work in my music career. So I went through uni, started off with a physics degree, and switched to genetic engineering because I liked it better. Didn't know I did. I was a big physics guy in high school. And as I went through uni, I started to get the impression that God wanted to change the course of my life. So I was dedicated to being a rock star. I think ultimately what I wanted to do, well, I still call myself a Christian, but ultimately what I wanted was to be worshipped as some sort of guitar hero, get paid lots of money, have zero responsibility, take lots of drugs, do the party life, and just sleep with groupies without really having to try very hard to get it. That's pretty much what I wanted. And a bit of fame on top, I guess. And that's kind of what I was after, and it kind of changed. And my band that I had, we were kind of discussing going on tour with a bigger Australian band. They were doing a national tour. They had label representation and publishers and everything, and we were going to be like the independent support for the tour. And it didn't work out, unfortunately. And when that happened, I was exactly halfway through my degree, second year. Hadn't decided if I was going to do a 4th year or not. And I went, music's just not working out for me. And doors were closing everywhere, and I was actually praying to God for direction. And sometimes it seems in the Christian life, if you pray for direction, you get the negative object lesson, and God shows you where not to go and guides you by shutting doors rather than opening them. And other doors opened later. And I moved on and finished my degree, had a few jobs. When I got married, started the business I've got now, which is marketing writing, copywriting, and business marketing strategy, business strategy, which is interesting work, but ultimately not something I want to do for the rest of my life. I really like just talking about theology, and I like talking about religion and the Bible, and I want people to be able to discuss religion without us having to argue and bitch about it, if that's even possible. And there's a bit more to the story, I guess, but bottom line, I check this out with StarCraft. If we browse the arcade, there's like a million games you can play. People just make them in the map editor, and it's like you buy the game, but there's all these extra games that people make, and some of them are really, really cool. Here's Eon of Storms. So this is the ancestor of, this is the sequel, if you like, to Eon of Strife. And if you know MOBA games like League of Legends and Defense of the Ancients, Eon of Strife was the original MOBA made with the old StarCraft map maker that came before the first Dota, believe it or not. So if you want to play StarCraft 2 Dota, that's it there. Dun, 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 dun. But the thing is, so my mum and dad died fairly early. One from smoking too much, the other from drinking too much. You can't. This can't be made too clear unless like you know me personally and have known me for a long time. But I don't have any of the problems I should have, given my life history. Like people who've been adopted or have been bereaved or have grown up in the kind of environments I did should not have a kind of stable life like I do. Like I can hold down a job and I'm educated and I'm articulated and I'm mentally healthy, more or less. Happily married to a woman who is also mentally healthy, more or less. And I say that jokingly, really. She's fine. And we live a happy, productive, peaceful, stable life with our faith in God intact and our health intact and all the rest of it. And my life shouldn't have turned out as a proper life. I mean, my family, there's a lot of single parents. There's been, petty crime and jail time. I've got a cousin who used to steal cars and strip them down and rah and drug use and just like mess. My family history, like even a century ago, has been messy, and my life is not. And I credit that to my faith in God. Well, I credit it to God, not to my faith in. But yeah, I you can't really know that about me unless you know me well. But I hope my story can kind of bring that out a little bit. Let's have a look at a few more of these. There's the Dragon Ball Z, Husky Starcraft's Imber maps. They put a lot of work into them. A Song of Ice and Fire. I don't even want to look at that. Well, I kind of do, actually. So yeah, that's kind of my story. I guess there's a bunch of other things I could tell you that I would say God has done in my life. But I've been Acoustic Pants. Please subscribe, comments and trolling section down below. And videos are out Wednesday and Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Thinking about various theological and religious topics. I should probably do a bit of self-disclosure and, have it on record as who I am and how I got here. So for quite a few years now, there's been this idea of a debate between science and religion, or science versus God, or words to that effect. And I have a science degree, but I don't work as a scientist. I find the notion of that kind of debate a bit ridiculous. And maybe I'll get into why later, but it's funny, and I don't think it's at all necessary. But I thought I wanted to give a few of my reasons, and just how I came. Like, how does someone actually become a Christian, or maybe part of any religion? So we'll get this game started. Let's see, being the Teal Terran. Yeah, so the parents died before I got to know them. And after Mum died, we lived in Western Sydney in Lethbridge Park. Ooh, see, he's already got his probe on me. So like, human players aren't that good. Gate gas coil, yeah, so it's all pretty standard. You started about 108 gas ago. Alright, so after Mum died, I lived with one sister, then another, because the siblings I have on my mum's side are much older. My siblings are all older than me on both parents' sides. So I lived with one sister and then another. They just weren't in a position to look after another kid as well as their own, because a lot of my nieces and nephews are only a little bit younger than me. I was an uncle at like 6 months old. Alright, so today I found the old GT Green Tea AI, which I believe was around in Brood War. And Blizzard tends to not love it because I think hackers can use it somehow. I don't know how it works. I just like drilling build orders against the AI, and this one can be quite difficult. I mean, most AIs are they're not that challenging, but this one can put pressure on it macros better than you do probably. almost certainly, and can micro and does different build orders, and yeah, and is annoying as hell, can play very greedy or play very cheesy. Today's video, I wanted to talk about where or how I came to the faith, and I kind of wanted to do it because I feel like I should, like if I'm going to publish these videos. I was living in a group home at the time. I'm going to play badly as well because I'm trying to talk. We'll just keep it simple, hey. Living in a group home, and in Blacktown in Western Sydney. I'm a Western Sydney boy. Sydney's on the east coast of Australia, if you didn't know. And my mother died when I was 5 or 6 of lung cancer or emphysema. She was a chronic smoker. My father died when I was a teenager, but I never met him. Unfortunately, apparently he was a pretty good guy. He died of liver cancer or liver failure because he just drank too much. That's an interesting story. Flip, maybe I should tell that story. Not now though. Maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. But if anyone had good reason to be an alcoholic, I'd say he did. But what do I need to build? Will I go command center first? No, I shouldn't do that. I should. Yeah. Yep, that's all good. We'll open that to public so they get data, because I'm a nice guy like that. And off we go. I think I might get hammered the first couple of times I'll try this. I've not played against it for a while. The Bone Trench GT2 in custom games. I'm on the US server at the moment, but I think they're on all servers. And we won't have close spawns. The game's set up smart enough to have you away from each other. Yep. Yep. Time to die. Why do you say that, man? Base 1, base 2, base 3, and you can... I don't really feel like taking gold bases. They don't do gold bases on ladder anymore, so I won't take them in customs. Yeah, so what am I now? 27, I'm nearly 28. I came to the faith when I was 9 or 10 or 11.